Hey, thanks for clicking today. In this video, we are going to talk about making the new-ish Crota's End raid as easy as possible for all of us. From new lights to veterans, if we approach this new raid prepared, I'm sure it'll be a breeze. The bulk of this video will be about boss DPS with rockets. Specifically, which ones you should get and how you can farm for them right now. Before we get into all that though, Crota's End is more than just boss DPS. Actually, back in Destiny 1, it practically didn't have any boss DPS at all. But as we saw with Oryx and the King's Fall raid reprisal, Crota's End will be converted to have boss DPS encounters, these encounters being the last two. But alongside these new damage encounters, we have Navigating the Entrance and the Bridge encounter. Both of these are essentially just add and major clear. I won't be going over the details for making these encounters as easy as possible. All I'm going to say is probably just use a machine gun. Other than that, like I said, it's pretty much just add clear, and that's pretty simple for every class. And at this point in the game, we should all know how to do it, since, well, actually 90% of Destiny is indeed just kill the waves of enemies. Okay, alright. Enough talking about non-boss encounters. Let's get into what usually makes or breaks a raid team during contest mode. And that's damage in the weapons people are using. Right now, it's pretty common knowledge that Gjallarhorn and legendary rockets are the way to go. However, that's different in my groundbreaking, meta-defining, never-before-seen strategy. As for what that strategy is, well, it's use Galley and 5 other rockets. Okay, maybe that's not such a groundbreaking strategy, but I will be recommending 2 specific rockets for day 1 DPS, with the first rocket recommendation being Cold Comfort. Anyone who is in the know of the meta probably won't be surprised by this rocket or the next, but this information is valuable nonetheless. As for Cold Comfort, we're going to cover the god roll, why it's good, and also how to farm it if you don't have it. Because right now, I know there are still teams that are doing their last minute prep. And even though it's last minute, they still have the top options available to them. So first up, the god roll. It's simply Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch. So check your vault if you got it, or get to farming. Now the reasoning behind this god roll is again very simple. Envious Assassin allows you to overload your magazine by getting weapon kills, and Bait and Switch is a free 35% damage buff. This means with the god roll Cold Comfort, you can triple your mag size, going from 1 to 3, and if you know about a bug, you can shoot your 3rd shot and then get more kills to overload it again. You can actually get 4. And then on top of the overflowed 4 magazine rocket, you can utilize its origin trait, which prepares an emergency reload when you either revive someone or get a finisher. So with this origin trait and Envious Assassin in conjunction with Bait and Switch, you can shoot 5 rockets with a 35% damage buff on 4 of them and have no drawbacks. This is very unlike using a rocket with bipod, where you lose 25% damage just to put 2 rockets in a mag. So yeah, that's the god roll, the reason behind it, and I think it's fair to say it's pretty easy to understand why it's so good. You get lots of rockets in a mag, you get the highest damage buff in the game, and as I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to quickly cover how to get this for anyone that doesn't have it. It comes from the Ghost of the Deep dungeon and drops from, I'm pretty sure, every encounter. So grab a fire team, get in there, and get grinding. Specifically, if you want to do it efficiently and as quick as possible, I recommend sticking to Encounter 2, the Ekthar boss, and keeping damage simple with using something like the Legend of Acreus. Alright, that's everything about Cold Comfort. It's undoubtedly one of the best rockets in the game, and, well, it's farmable right now. So, if you're hoping to get a day 1 clear and your team needs some firepower, you know where to go. Also, while I'm transitioning from one rocket to the next, I'll go over some information that's pertinent to both. When dealing with barrel and magazine perks, go for increased handling, and then always go for impact casing, because you literally just get extra damage. Also, as you can see on this menu, yeah, the next rocket is good old Apex Predator. This one is my personal choice between the two, and I'd say in most situations, it's actually just the better choice. To get straight to it, the god roll is Reconstruction with Bait and Switch. This rocket is arguably the superior choice, because of its auto-loading and overflowing capabilities while featuring the same damage perk as Cold Comfort. As you're seeing, it overflows the mag to 2 and does it, well, automatically. This pairs extremely well with using it inside of a damage rotation like you're seeing on screen. And because of the perk combinations, it effectively does more damage since you're incentivized to constantly be using multiple weapons compared to just blowing your load with Cold Comfort. Also, while I'm here comparing the two, I'd like to point out that with the perks available to both of them, neither actually does more or less damage than the other. So if you do use either weapon in a damage rotation to the maximum of their ability, they should be equals. But Apex Predator is just so easy to use. You don't even need kills prior, so I do genuinely think it wins in a competition. And regarding why this rocket is just so good being damage rotations, I feel like I could go on and on about damage rotations forever, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. If you would like a video on damage rotations, let me know down in the comments below. But let's talk acquisition of this top tier rocket. Well, it comes from the Last Wish raid, which right now, before the Crota's End raid, is not farmable. But you can clear the raid on all 3 characters, with each encounter clear having the chance at Apex, I'm pretty sure. And if you don't get an Apex from those, you can purchase as many Apexes as you want from Hawthorne, as long as you have the spoils. And if you're either out of spoils, you did all your raids and you didn't get a drop, or you spent all your spoils and you didn't get a drop, if you really, really, really want Apex, which again, I do recommend it, you can go even further beyond and farm spoils at Templar or something in a different raid. And with those spoils, you can just keep buying an Apex from Hawthorne until you get the role you want. And that brings us to the last topic I want to discuss regarding these rockets. And this topic honestly isn't being spoken about amongst anybody, and I think it is pretty important. So one of the bosses inside the Crota's End raid is a wizard, Ear-Ute, I'm pretty sure the name is. And you know wizards? Well, they are flying and they're small and they're cringe. If you're like me, you have played too much of the Ghost of the Deep dungeon. And if you're really like me, you don't have the damn exotic yet. But outside of that, you probably now have a deep hatred for wizard bosses. If the wizard boss in Crota's End is anywhere similar to the wizard boss in Ghost of the Deep, it could be literally dodging all of our rockets. And so in this situation, in this contingency where we've got a cringe boss that doesn't like to be hit by rockets, I would genuinely recommend having a rocket with the tracking module perk on it. Personally, I'm going to have a separate crafted Apex just for this case, because missing rockets is the absolute worst possible scenario. And if the raid comes and this boss is super cringe, even a rocket with no extra mag size but still has tracking and hits the shots, it's still better than a linear. So keep that in mind when going into the Ear-Ute boss fight on Friday, and that's it. That's everything I wanted to talk about regarding the rockets and DPS and the Crota's End raid. So let me know down in the comments what you think about everything I've said today. Are you going to use either Apex or Cold Comfort? Which one's your favorite rocket? And if you'd like to support me and support this channel, a like, a comment, and subscription, greatly appreciated. Helps me continue to grow my channel and hopefully reach more people. But if you'd like to support me, if you can't think of a comment down below either Apex Predator or Cold Comfort to let me know which one's your favorite. And as always, I hope you are having a great day, and I hope to see you around.